Peace, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of On Tilt. Julius here with Mama Brown. How you doing, young lady?
I am good, Julius. Good. I have been very busy. I've been a busy bee the last couple of days. I have officially, what do they say, put a flag or established roots here in Pittsburgh. So I'm excited about that. I closed on some property the other day. So hey Pittsburgh, I'm here. So I'm looking forward to, just continuing the efforts of the Marcus Jaylen Brown Foundation and just hey, ready to begin this next chapter of my life. How are you, Julius?
I'm well. Congratulations on everything you got going on. I mean, you have been super busy, and I know how hard you've been working, how prayerful you've been. You know, we've had some conversations about your journey and trying to get things rooted. So I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for that. I'm well. I am admittedly I'm back in therapy. It was a minute before I was in therapy, and I just hit a point where I was like, all right, it's time. Finally got back in therapy, working through some stuff. I've been really on a spiritual journey lately, like trying to shed some of the stuff, you know what I mean, the unnecessary stuff that we carry around with us. So I've been really prayerful lately, really trying to be present, not focusing too much on the future and too much on the past, just trying to be present as much as I can. But I'm in a good place spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Um, Finances are getting better. you know. Yeah. So y'all, this is our anniversary. It is our anniversary. It has been a year. This year, to me, it feels like it flew by.
Yeah, it did. It really did. It really did.
Super fast. But it's a year in the game. We've been talking about state of Black mental health and policing in America. Y'all have been with us for so long. So before we get into this anniversary episode, we got a great convo. Let's do what we always do and just join in a moment of silence, y'all. Right. So, Mama Brown, we have a pretty interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah.
Right on this 1 year anniversary. It was one of them tragedies that when it happened, it shook up a lot of people. We had a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of grief worldwide. Really, this went beyond national. So, Kobe Bryant, right? We know he tragically passed away. Him, his daughter, some other folks that were on this plane with him. And, if you can remember kind of what you were navigating or what you were feeling in that moment, Kobe is, say what you want, you can have those who's the greatest arguments, but Kobe was arguably the greatest.
Yeah.
Definitely on your greatest list. And he was just a competitor, right? He had that mentality that like, I'm going to compete day in and day out, right? And people gravitated to that.
Yeah.
So naturally, when he passed away like that, way well before his time, shook people up, right? And
and the confound, he had his daughter with him, and it was a helicopter, and it was other people and other children.
Yes. So fast forward, his wife, who's now widow, Vanessa Bryant, she's been dealing with so much trauma, so much stress around it. And as a result of what happened, there were photos that were leaked from first responders and people who were on site leaked these photos of this horrific scene of this tragedy of this well-known worldwide icon, public figure, right? And now Vanessa Bryant is suing LA County for damages, right? For saying, hey, not only was I dealing with the trauma and the stress of having to lose two loved ones and then all the people who passed away with them, now I'm having to deal with the stress and the trauma of these photos being out and wondering where these photos are because there's a surviving daughter, right? Or I know there's another.
Three.
Right. So like these photos are my family members, are my children going to see these photos and how that is going to bring up the trauma again. And what the county is saying, what they're arguing is that no matter what, if these photos were leaked or not, we're holding our people accountable, right? We took disciplinary action, but they're saying that Vanessa Bryant cannot connect her emotional distress and trauma to these photos or to the possibility of these photos being out there. And they're requiring that her and other family members of the people who passed get psychiatric evaluations to prove their emotional distress and trauma. I mean, this is in the pre-show, we were just like, wow, this is wild. So I'm gonna pause and let you chime in.
Yes. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm like, it's unbelievable, which has led us to ask this question: who has the right to qualify emotional distress for anyone? Like, I know we have tools and tests we can do, diagnostic tests we can do, and surveys, you name it, we have it. But at the end of the day, when you have such a huge tragic loss as such as we all were privy to, how can you then, several years, it's been 2 years, right?
Going on 2 years. Yeah.
How can you then come back and say, we want you to take a test to qualify your emotional distress? And I shared with you, Julius and John, pre-show, that every time I come through the Pittsburgh tunnel, there's an emotional distress that I go through, that I have to self-talk myself. It's a weight. It's almost as if my air has been cut off. When I come through that tunnel, I have to prepare myself, because at the end of the day, coming through that tunnel and officially entering Pittsburgh still carries a level of hurt and pain, as I reflect on the life of my son that I believe should still be here. And so, I that's one of the people say, well, why would you buy property or why would you plant roots in Pittsburgh? Well, because if you follow me, do you understand trauma to triumph? It's therapeutic for me to be here. It's therapeutic for me to run the Marquis Jaylen Brown Foundation, because it's right here. I can't keep running. Pittsburgh or in the death of my son is always a part of me. So why not create memories that, are healing? But I tell you, if you were to have me do a survey or try to qualify my emotional distress, it's impossible unless you can walk in my shoes. You can get an idea, but you cannot sit there and say, we don't think that you're emotionally distressed behind this incident because of pictures shared, but more so because of the incident. Let me tell you, for me, it's the incident, it's the pictures, it's living in LA if I'm Vanessa Bryant, is looking at my children that are still living and seeing Kobe and her daughter and her children and missing them all over again. Triggers are everywhere. And even in our own family members, when we look at them and they resemble what we lost. So shame on them. And what does that say to the mental health community? Again, LA seems to sometimes not, most of the times, not get it right when we talk about, the mental health of Black and brown people. We have numerous stories. I know several people who have lost, high profile people who have lost their lives to the LA, system, and how they wasn't the best, um, a group of people or group of cops or system to support, and rectify the situation with Black and brown people without it first being some dramatic and dramified thing. The
Yeah,
dramified word.
it is now. It's our anniversary. We can say what we want.
Yeah.
That what you hit on something, Mama Brown. You said shame on them, and that's what's coming up for me. It's like, okay, the legal stuff aside, because I know you have to frame legal arguments and get certain information, and you got to share it and present it in a court of law a certain way for it to be admissible, or it's inadmissible. I know there's all these different things, and attorneys, they navigate that, they work their way around that. So to me, it just feels slimy, right? It feels
Yucky.
it feels yucky and shady to
Real shady. Petty is I don't know what.
So now they are, number one, demanding, requiring that Vanessa Bryant and these other folks get these psychiatric evaluations, not because they want to make sure that they want to figure out how to best support her and make sure she's got the right level of treatment. That's not the intent. The intent is to be able to draw a line in the sand and say, no, we did 8 hours of a psychiatric evaluation with a psychiatrist or mental health professionals that we recommended, that we brought to the table, right? They weren't around, as you always advocate for. It wasn't independent of what y'all brought to the table. So I'm a mental health professional, and I believe that we have a very there's integrity, there's honesty in the field. But if this is something that LA County is demanding and requiring, well, you better believe that they're going to be having conversations. Somebody's having a conversation somewhere with this psychiatrist.
Yeah.
There's some kind of conversation that or they're like, we're gonna get the right one. We're gonna get the psychiatrist that we know we can pay to play.
Right.
And you know what I mean, is going to do their job, but they're going to do it in a way that's going right. So to me, I'm just like, wow, that's and they're also trying to highlight that, to your earlier point, your trauma and stress didn't come from these photos. You're trying to say that to get this money from us, but you did this 8 hours with this psychiatrist, and based on those results, your trauma came from the actual death or the ABC. They want to attach it to other stuff. And if you put Vanessa Bryant, or you put anybody who's experienced some kind of trauma like that, and you start asking them about their trauma, of course I'm going to be talking about the stuff. Like you said, I'm going to be talking about it all. But yeah, I'm going to be reflecting on like how I couldn't even imagine losing a family member like that. So it
was horrific.
That's what I'm like.
People don't think that there's different layers to how you lose someone. There is a difference, and not everybody may not agree with me. I get it. So you know what? Hey, let's agree to disagree. But there's a difference in someone going to bed and not waking up to someone getting on a helicopter and the whole family is taken out. Families are taken out. Like there's a difference. What's the difference? I can't determine that emotional difference for anyone. But I can imagine that for me, I'll speak for me, having a family member pass in their sleep, there's some type of peacefulness attached to that, as opposed to having a family member catch a flight and horrifically that flight is blown up on social on it, they show, I think they kept showing the points where the helicopter was flying because they could track it to where it disappeared. And at that point, that's when we knew, of course, it crashed. But reliving that and being a public figure, Julius, that's it was horrific. That's my point.
Yeah.
It was horrific in itself.
I hear you. And there's like, I don't think, for me, it's really difficult to have closure when people pass, period, right?
Yeah.
It's always like, you got your, your prayer for folks, and I'm spiritual in this, no more suffering. And I hear that, but I guess I'm just trying to elevate what you're saying. Like one day, Kobe's like, all right, with their daughter, I'm gonna hop on this plane. We're traveling here. You're like, all right, I'm gonna see you when you get back.
Right.
I'm gonna see you when you get back. Right. You've been on 1,000 flights, right? This is 1,001. I'm gonna see you when you get back. And then you don't. Like you're like, wait, what happened? So I want
to share it with everybody.
Yes. The world. This is with the world. So Vanessa Bryant, federal lawsuit against the county alleges invasion of privacy, claim that she is experiencing severe emotional distress that has compounded the trauma of losing her husband and 13-year-old daughter. She's saying that first responders, firefighters, sheriff's deputies shared pictures of Kobe's body with a bartender and passed around other photos of the children, parents, and coaches.
The key word is compound. In addition to that part, I think that they're totally missing. They think that she's saying it was only that has resulted in her mental. She said it has taken what is already a tragic situation, and it's almost like you keep squeezing it.
Mm-hmm.
What more can you get out of it? What more can you do to me?
Yes. And how can you tell me that it's not affecting me? Right? Like I'm a little lower on the mental health professional totem, like credential pole, right? The psychiatrists and psychologists, they're above me, right? What kind of test or questions can you ask someone to then be like, oh, you know what? Based on this right here, the stress that you're actually feeling and anxiety and worry and everything else is from the actual incident itself. And it ain't got nothing to do with talk about these pictures or these photos. Like, how do you even determine that for somebody? Mm-hmm. I stay up on, mental health tools, and we talked about this too, right? Like, but I'm just like, to the initial point, the LA County is recommending or almost damn near mandating that she get this psych eval, and they're going to provide, like, who's doing it? There's something there.
And listen, what about the trauma of that being leaked out. I'm just saying, because again, I know there are you confidentiality agreement when it comes to things like this, but there's some gray areas too. She's in a public. This is a public court procedure. So it will be some testimony to the results and the outcomes of these tests, batteries of tests, should she be, inclined to have to do it. So how do you control that information that's public? And you might as well add that as another lash at re-traumatizing her.
I don't know much. You might know a little bit more about this than me, Mama Brown. My wife tells me about it. She works in the public defender's office. So she's like the people who need justice the most and oftentimes don't have the money or the resources to get representation. She's one of the social workers that's like fighting to tell their story in court, fighting to humanize the people who are being allegedly accused of committing crimes, right? And so she's trying to get as much information as possible so that the judge and everybody else can see, like, wow, this person has dealt with so much trauma, so much that the system has been barreling down on them. So we need to like not throw the book at them, all right? Because they didn't been dealing with a lot. And she will often tell me, I don't know what it's called, but it's like, I don't know if it's a law, but it's something to the effect of like, you can't get up there and just be like saying all this stuff that's gonna make the judge and make the jury like all super emotional and like, oh my goodness, like I forget what part of what's called, but it's basically like saying like, hey, don't just give us facts. We don't need all that, who this person was and emotional stuff, because people, they know that influences people's decision. It's going to influence the judge's decision.
Yes.
And it's going to influence the way the jurors put forth their whatever jury, I don't know if it's called a vote, but whatever the technical term is. So it's like the court system has been set up to like suppress that kind of stuff, suppress the humanity, right? So they're trying to suppress her reality of saying, no, this hurt me and it's hurting my family. Listen, I'm telling you, it's hurting me. We need an evaluation. You got to prove it. And
exactly.
That's mind-boggling to me.
Wow. When did we start weaponizing mental health?
It's been a long time. It's been a long, long, long time. We talked about in the pre-show too. There's other components of this, right? So we talked about the amount. We don't know the amount of the lawsuit, right? We're not sure of that, but we know that it's Kobe Bryant and it's Kobe Bryant's wife. So I imagine that the amount of this lawsuit, when LA County, when they look at it, they're like, oh man, like we pay this one out.
Our budgets.
Our roads is, I mean, we're gonna have to set, whatever.
Away from other
stuff, close some roads down, lay some people off.
Absolutely.
A lot.
Absolutely.
So I think did you say earlier it's about, in our pre-show, it's about money, or it's partly about money?
I think John alluded to that, but to think that her motives are about, it's about money. That's crazy. We all know she's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think she's wanting more money for more things. When you have lost at the level she has lost, you realize Nothing. Things means have very
No
little
amount of money. And no amount of money.
and no amount of money. No amount of money. I believe Vanessa is seeking justice and saying, you know what? You cannot exploit a person's tragedy and think it's okay, even if they're a celebrity. A celebrity and a public figure still have privacy. She still has privacy. Her mental health still needs to be protected, regardless of how many dollars you think I'm worth.
Mm-hmm.
Again, are we weaponizing mental health? Are we saying that we value people's mental health and we try to send that message out? No, it's World Mental Health Month, right? Everywhere around the world are posting and talking about the importance of mental health. But what do you do when those same entities use mental health to try to discredit you and try to tell you to qualify or quantify your emotional distress, your level of mental health? Because we believe that you're not as sad as you say you're sad. We believe the trauma that you're experiencing is not that traumatic. We believe in 2 years you should be over it. That if we showed you a picture at the crash site or body parts or whatever, you'll be fine. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
we take mental health and we use it again to justify why we should not pay Vanessa Brown for her traumatic loss and the exploit of her of pictures of her family members.
Mm.
That's just crazy to me. What side of the fence are we on?
Wow. Bro, you make me think of right as we're on to the day 1 year anniversary for us. And when we started this, um, how did we connect?
Hmm.
Do
Wow.
you remember?
Well, we connected, let me see, with the fist raised. As y'all can see, is for our 1 year anniversary, I have my Black Lives Matter jersey on
Yeah.
in honor of, it's not Kobe Bryant's jersey. His jersey, I got some Kobe Bryant shoes. I forgot what they call. My sons used to tell me what they were, but so I just thought I wear a basketball jersey just in out of respect as we talk about Vanessa Bryant and show solidarity. But you and I connected, Julius, because your name, kept coming up to me, and so many people kept asking me if I knew you. When I was in at Freedom Corner in the streets, and I said no, and I'm sure my name probably came up to you a lot. But I said, well, when someone is mentioning a person's name that many times, it makes sense for me to reach out and try to connect to this person and see who this person is. And let me tell you guys, when I reached out to Julius and we first started talking, we were on the phone for hours. That's how strong our connection was. We were very in tune to what was going on, in Pittsburgh and in the protests and the Black Lives Matter, not only in Pittsburgh but within the United States. With Ahmaud Arbery case, with Atiana Jefferson, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Marquis Jaylen Brown. So we were very in touch with what was going on, and we had a lot of passion behind, mentally. Let us not miss that boat. That was the gist of our conversation. A lot was, all of this is going on, but how are we taking care of ourselves? How are our people taking care of themselves? How the protesters and those, how are we taking care of ourselves in the midst, before they started reporting on mental health and protests and black and brown really becoming a big thing? We were talking about it, but it just, we didn't get the attention that it deserved.
Yes, and Mama Brown, this is so, to me this feels important, and it almost kind of like a full circle kind of moment for me. And hearing you say that, I remember having conversations with you, and you just being so transparent and authentic about your journey of healing, right? And talking about it not being linear, and you just, you're trying to navigate it, and be strong for yourself, be strong for your family. And you experience like similar to what Vanessa is experiencing, like in the sense of people being like, I don't know, like you should be cool, like you should be okay, or something to that extent, right? And I think I'm saying that because the what I got from you, the gift I received from you, is that it was a gentle reminder that everyone's trauma is different,
Yeah.
and no other individual. I mean, this is another powerful thing when we talk about, even when you go through the evaluation, when you get the diagnosis, when you talk to the counselor, is that still even a full, does that tell the full story
Yes.
of where you are and what you need, and how you, it might give you bits and pieces for that moment, or give you some historical knowledge, but like you said, from moment to moment, we got to take care of ourselves the best way that we can. So I guess what I'm saying is, the full circle moment for me was you just kind of raise my awareness again on like everybody's trauma to triumph journey is different, and the triumph isn't a permanent destination. It's more like trauma, triumph, trauma, triumph,
Yes.
trauma. Like it's, what I mean, it's not just
It's a
one.
process.
And you never know. So that's why this is so wrong. It's wrong that she has to even be in this position
Absolutely.
because of the notoriety of Kobe. Because of, I ain't seen no articles yet, but I imagine that they're about to start talking about Vanessa Bryant's lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
And this is Kobe Bryant's widow. Let's go back to time that she was Kobe Bryant's wife.
Yes.
Like, so of course she had a certain kind of lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And their kids had a certain kind of lifestyle, but I bet you they start bringing that up.
Yep.
Vanessa Bryant, like, whatever, Sergio this, Donatella that, like, I bet you that starts coming up in this estate and that estate. And what does she need that for? Stuff they ain't got no business bringing in
business
into these proceedings.
Nope, didn't ask them for a handout. Just demanded what she should be demanding, and that is justice and accountability. And I'm going to share something, Julius, that you just opened the door for me to share. Let me tell you, my greatest fear, which was partly why I had to bring this situation with Jaylen to a close by working, with the school and everything. to bring it to the close. I could not stand to see a picture. I prayed that no one would pop up and send me a picture of my son laying on that ground. In the reality with camera phones, I'm surprised that no one has done that yet. And again, the trauma every day for me. And when we talk about Vanessa and where Vanessa and I have similarities, is I don't know if she actually saw it, the actual picture, to verify that it was being shared, even though the people already admitted to it. If she did, she, she, I'm messed up for life. Can you imagine me seeing the picture or someone showing me the picture? I'm already hanging on by a shoestring and doing well and processing well at this level. But any one of those students could have taken that picture and put it on social media. I have no recognition that this has happened. So my heart and gratitude to the Duquesne students who were there on site that did not do that showed a lot of maturity, and they didn't owe me anything. And all I hear Vanessa saying is that I wanted those same rights. I wanted someone to show me grace and mercy and not post such a traumatic picture or situation that will re-traumatize me. Like, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. I got small children. I have a child that wasn't even one when her father left here. I'm doing the best I can with the way of being a mother in motherhood. And now having, not by choice, to do it by myself, minus a heartbeat and the love of my life. So, I thought about it. I was like, I never told anyone this. That is my fear. That as time go on, people will get relaxed and comfortable and think it's safe to share. Yo, this what I'm experiencing is a lifetime of grief. When you see me post trauma to triumph, what do you see? I'm sorry, I'm just all choked up over here. What do you see in between? It's a squiggly line because it has its peaks and valleys. It has its peaks and valleys. So, sorry, I just had to share that because that is my biggest connection to her situation is I don't want pictures of my child surfacing in that light.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Alma Brown, thank you for sharing. I mean, for tapping into something that you didn't have to. But I know even in that pain and reflecting on that, you still have something in your heart and your soul that feels obligated or compelled to share those kind of things, to educate people and to share your truth. So thank you for doing that. And what you just expressed, I mean, it's just so full circle with this with Vanessa Bryant that we're describing. Like you said, she wants justice. It's not about money. It's about justice. And what none of these articles say, and I don't know, maybe, her legal representation is probably like, hey, we don't want to see no comments or quotes from you. But I think what you just said is what Vanessa Bryant would say. I can't even imagine what I would do if I were to see those photos. If my other children and family members were to see these photos, right? So it's also about justice and um, privacy, and it's about not continuing to re-traumatize us. So y'all the county and the people who leak these photos, y'all are focused on the wrong thing for the sake of this legal matter. Y'all keep telling me this didn't cause you to be further traumatized. Mm-hmm. Number one, yes, it did. And number two, I'm not even fully able to fully articulate or share my full truth with everyone because I still have this fear or hesitation about even seeing these photos, because that's going to unlock something complete, like another whole level and layer of that trauma, the triumph thing, right? So there's also that piece. It's like you said, Mom Brown, I am doing the best I can, and here comes all these other perspectives and arguments and what do you call them? Speculations, right? Everyone's speculating. And this is literally a mother who's saying, I don't want to be further traumatized. I don't want my family to be further traumatized from the people that we lost. Can we?
Sorry, go ahead.
That was my final thought.
So what plan of action would they have, Julius, if she lost her mind?
So, Mama Brown, it's interesting you say that. I was thinking it's a mighty convenient time for the demand of the psychiatric evaluation to come up now. Now, I don't know if that kind of came up before, but now is public, right? Mm-hmm. What about having, hey, we want to ensure that Vanessa and her family have the appropriate mental health support. So LA County is good. Now I know there's the legal stuff there, but it's a mighty convenient time to put this psychiatric evaluation on the table now, because it has the potential to further support your stance in court and not giving this woman justice or her money, right? Mm-hmm. And so your question, now you do these 8 hours plus of this evaluation, and it is like Vanessa Bryant is not stable. She is unstable. It's just every score, every, whatever is telling you that she needs like.
Now you're open to you. I see where you're going with this. So now you don't expose a level that distracts from the very point of photos of my family members should not have been made public. But now you done took, because you knew that if I'm going to be subjected to 8 hours, a battery of tests, I'm going to lose my mind. So now it becomes Vanessa Bryant has lost her mind. The distraction. So you're setting up for failure.
Because what she's not mentally or emotionally stable, therefore we can't honor her. We can't trust her. It's a to use someone's trauma against them.
Yep.
In a way that says you can't trust people who are experiencing trauma. That outside of the criminal justice system is a problem. Within the criminal justice system, right? Like, to me, that is like the intersection of mental health and policing. What's happening right now is we're not even acknowledging your mental health in a way that's humane. And that how can you ever have justice? How could there ever be justice if that can't exist in the process? How do you ever get justice for somebody if you're going to argue that their mental or emotional you're going to dictate what caused them mental and emotional stress, and you're going to say that because of their level of mental and emotional stress, we can't pay attention to anything that they're saying. It's not valid. It's inadmissible now. Like that. The other third piece that came up, Mama Brown, is that I need to do some research, but this is like such a public case.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a public case. It's gonna get out, right? It's not like right? So now I'm thinking about like HIPAA and protection. Like there's no way to protect the results of the psychiatric evaluation. The whole world is gonna know what happened with Vanessa Bryant's psychiatric evaluation. The whole world.
The whole world. The whole world. First of all, the whole world are going to be privy to visually see a mother who is holding on to a hair of a string freaking break down, mentally break down. Impossible to go through 8 hours of evaluations that are directed to qualify your mental distress. And part of that is using evidence, right? So she's going to be exposed to evidence that has to trigger that side of you. What the hell?
So think about the two sides of this. She does the 8 hours of the psychiatric evaluation, and she's like, cool. Like, she's just like, I'm good. That doesn't faze me. That I'm good. I don't worry about it anymore. I don't have anxiety. She goes through it like that, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, well, obviously this ain't bothering you. So why the suit over the pictures? Why the lawsuit over if none of this is bothering you, why are you filing a lawsuit? That's one end, right? She's super cool. The other end, what you just said, she's completely just stressed, anxious. She can't even make it through the 8 hours. And the psychiatrist and the team is like, she needs support. She's not in a good place. They're about to start. Let's see here. Let me get this right. These proceedings are about to start for this case. I want to say November. I thought I saw the date, but I believe it's coming up, right? So they're trying to get the psych eval before all these court proceedings happen. So then if it says she's not, quote unquote, stable by their definition, they're going to say, well, who's going to come into the court and the judge? The judge is going to say, well, Ms. Bryant, I know you've gone through a lot, but based on the results of your psychiatric evaluation, we know that you are not in the right frame of mind to be sharing information that's credible. Like that's going to be the narrative. So how does she win? How can she win?
What's going to happen? This is monumental. What's going to come out of this, even as we speak? Mark my words. HIPAA and how we go about our mental health protection has now been introduced and under question in question now. What is admissible and what is allowable when you're talking about victims? We protect rape victims. We protect children. If they're 18 and under, when it comes to various, traumatic situations, certain categories we protect. How do we protect a victim from being re-traumatized to prove the state's case?
Wow.
So we have another level of potential policy changes and potential another layer of social injustice. So what I'm saying, our work as freedom fighters are not done. I'm calling everyone that is in close proximity to those court procedures or to Vanessa or to her foundations or whatever, the mental health community in LA, to speak up now, to sign petitions, to make the court system aware that we as a people do not support re-traumatizing a victim in support of a state trying to prove its case. You cannot qualify or quantify one's mental health when it's already been established a traumatic situation has occurred in their life. There has to be a cut off. There has to be a line you simply don't cross. Because as a mother who lost a child that lives in fear every day, a picture surfacing about her child, if I can't even look at it, that speaks volumes to the fact that protection needs to be put in place. How many young folks have recorded? Oh, you know what? Let me pause. I would be remiss. Wanda Cooper, my dear friend, who's in court right now for her son, Ahmaud Aubrey, who we all watched him be gunned down on TV. Wanda refused to watch any clippings or anything. No social media. It was all on social media. It's been on the news over and over and over again. It's on YouTube. You almost can't avoid it. But somehow she has insulated herself to not see that. I have had conversations with Wanda. I can tell you that I believe she has since seen it, but she had to have therapy because, like I said, now it's all over the place. See, she's in a different category even than Vanessa and I, because the majority of us haven't seen the actual body parts or of her loved ones laying there. It was isolated to a bar. So they were able to isolate it somewhat. Not all of us have seen it. We saw the crash site, but we have not actually seen where they had physically taken pictures of the actual body parts. I remember one clip did get out and they said you could see a hand or an arm. It was something, it was a long time ago, but I since believe they pulled that. But you see, Wanda has to see her son running and ditching cars to be gunned down and treated as if they just caught a wild animal. And This information. Now, Ahmad didn't have any children, but she just had a grandbaby. So for this information is accessible. So then you're going to go ask Wanda to qualify and quantify and take batteries of tests to see if CNN replay of her son causes any traumatic responses?
Sounds like a trick question to me. And I was listening to NPR day before yesterday, and they were talking about Ahmaud Arbery's case, and they were saying that these three things, as we wrap up, are going to come into play. Excuse me. With the actual people, I'm sorry, with, I don't even know their names, their case, not the Ahmaud Arbery case, these other men's case, their case.
Their case.
The stand your ground, the something about citizens arrest, and something about I forget what the other piece, like use of deadly force. Mm-hmm. So the argument, part of the argument is that they're arguing that they did have the right to stand their ground. They did have the right to use citizens arrest tactics. They did have the right to use deadly force because they fear. Like, so the point I'm trying to make here is, how do we ever get justice in this system? How do we ever get justice? And this is the way that this system is set up. That
it's a two-sided coin.
So I
for you or against you.
We'll see. You know, prayers out to her and their family. You know, because that is right, full circle. Now that's coming back around. Mm-hmm. And to be able to say, well, you know, you'd have been in therapy, you should be okay now. You know, these are just proceeding. Now it's like reliving it all over again every single day. So to your point, Mama Brown, and I thought the same thing earlier in our convo, I really hope that some agencies, some advocates, some activists,
yes,
ACLU, I don't know who needs to step up.
Everybody.
So everybody to ensure the local mental health. I know they have a Mental Health America chapter somewhere in Cali. Y'all got to step up and advocate
Absolutely.
for this this gruesome request, this negligent, inhumane request to try to prove this woman's trauma.
Absolutely.
That's not, it's not right.
It's not right.
Not
it's
right.
Not right. We can't set those type of precedents. We just can't. We can't. Too many injustice has been done, period, to women too, as well. You know, I don't, you know, seems like it's, you know, I don't know, I'm a little biased. Just seems like the women get a lot of the blunt of it. You know, just weird. But, you know, again, look, I don't qualify. That's not a valid statement.
Yeah,
but
I got you. I hear you. Well,
let's say to our some people over here commenting.
I see. Yeah.
Real quick, John mentioned something. We'll talk about this actually next week, John. I saw your comment. It says, so what about mental evals helping whites in high-profile cases? Julius and I are going to touch on mental evaluation and how the harm effect it can have, the harm helping effect it can have. But that's the whole conversation, I believe. What do you think, Julius?
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Because that right there is a whole different a different layer to already a system that is very questionable and broken. But Julius, we have some people here who have made some comments.
Yeah, I see we have I want to say, I hope I'm saying it right. Dayla or Dayla.
Mm.
Appreciate you. She's saying, yes, Mama Brown. So glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Beth, our dear friend Beth, grateful for you sharing your truth, Mama Brown. Shantae Monique, happy anniversary. Thank you. We appreciate you. 1 year. And Beth again, my jaw dropped. They wanted her to get an eval. I have no words for what we are witnessing happening to her. Thanks for having this important convo. Yes.
Mm.
So there is, right. It's obvious that even 1 year later for us, Mama Brown, there's still lots of conversations to be had,
Absolutely.
lots of work to do, and lots of progress still to be made.
Still to be made.
So we got to keep having the conversations.
Yeah, and thank you guys for journeying with us. Please, this is a very interactive platform. Feel free to contact us if there's some content you want us to speak about. Drop us a line. We appreciate you. Hey, look, we want to thank One Hood Media for allowing us this space. You know, we hey, look, the greatest pleasure for us is being able to contribute to the community, to be impactful, and to just team up and stand in solidarity with you, our viewers, on issues that affect us. Hey, we may not on the books be an award winning podcast, but we're award-winning podcast.
We got all the right ingredients. We got it.
Yeah.
We have integrity. We have honesty. We just have a love for humanity. A love for empathy, a love for people. So that's enough for me. That's better than anything else.
Mhm.
That's good for me. So yeah,
Love you, Julius.
love you too, Mama. Well, we appreciate y'all. World Mental Health Month is not over. We still got 10 days left, right? So please continue to um, knock down stigma, get support, provide a listening ear to your people. I'm back in therapy, so I'm feeling good. Connect with a mental health professional, get the kiddos some support. Post about mental health on your social media, y'all. It's still World Mental Health Month, and we need to continue to get the word out as much as you can. Use your voice. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Same time next week.